Nightmare 1. Nightmare moment, the suicide of the neighbor's daughter. The autumn night had fallen, shrouding the quiet town in a blanket of darkness. The streets were nearly empty, the town's pulse slowing down as the night grew colder. Ethan revved his motorcycle, speeding down the deserted streets, his headphones blasting music, lost in the rhythm of the ride. He passed a small newsstand, where an elderly vendor, Mr. Harris, watched a flickering, snowy TV screen while munching on sunflower seeds. Ethan couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of the static-filled broadcast, but it felt oddly comforting in the quiet of the night. As he continued down the road, he saw the faint glow of the local amusement park, Mini City, in the distance. The Ferris wheel spun lazily, lights flashing in the night. But then, the sky darkened, and a heavy rainstorm began to pour, washing over the park and causing the few visitors to scatter. Among the crowd, a man in a carnival costume, Kambiz, stumbled, disoriented as he tried to make his way through the chaos. The storm raged on, and Kambiz found himself alone in the now empty park, soaked to the bone. His mind raced with dark thoughts. "If I complain, I'll be ungrateful," he muttered. "But if I stay quiet, it'll only get worse." A bolt of lightning illuminated the sky, and Kambiz felt as though the storm inside him mirrored the one outside. He started to question the choices he had made, wondering if there was any way to turn things around. It was then that Ethan arrived, holding a small cake, meant as a gesture of surprise, but it was clear that neither of them was in the mood for celebration. They had their own demons to confront. They decided to head to Kambiz's apartment, but the moment they arrived, the night air felt thick with an unsettling tension. Kambiz, his nerves frayed, confided in Ethan about a strange sensation he couldn't shake, a feeling that something dark was looming over him. Ethan, ever the skeptic, dismissed it. But as they settled in to watch a movie, the oppressive atmosphere in the apartment seemed to grow heavier. A knock on the door interrupted the uneasy calm. They opened it to find a terrified woman, drenched and frantic, claiming she was being hunted. With no choice, they let her in, unaware that this decision would spiral them into a nightmare that would unravel everything they thought they knew. The drenched woman stumbled into the apartment, her breath erratic, her eyes darting wildly around the room. Her clothes clung to her shivering frame as she muttered incoherently, "He's coming. He's coming for me." Ethan and Kambiz exchanged uneasy glances. "Who's after you?" Kambiz asked, trying to mask the tremor in his voice. The woman gripped the edge of the couch tightly, her knuckles turning white. "I don't know his name," she whispered, her voice trembling. "But he's everywhere. I hear his footsteps even in the silence. He's watching, waiting." Ethan, still skeptical, crossed his arms. "Sounds like you've had a rough night. Maybe you just need to calm down." Before he could finish, the apartment was plunged into complete darkness. The lights flickered violently before going out, leaving the room lit only by the dim glow of a street lamp outside. A deafening clap of thunder shook the building, and the woman screamed, clutching her head as though shielding herself from an unseen force. "What the hell is going on?" Ethan shouted, reaching for his phone to use as a flashlight. "I told you," the woman gasped. "He's here." Kambiz lit a candle from the coffee table, its flickering flame casting eerie shadows on the walls. The oppressive feeling in the room intensified, as if the very air had turned malevolent. Then, faintly, they all heard it, a slow, deliberate knocking sound coming from the window. But they were on the third floor. Kambiz froze, candle trembling in his hand. Ethan mustered his courage and approached the window. Pulling back the curtain, he revealed nothing. Only the rain splattering against the glass and the distant glow of the storm-lit sky. "See? There's nothing." Ethan stopped mid-sentence as the knocking resumed, louder this time. But now it echoed through the apartment as if coming from multiple directions. The woman bolted upright. "Don't answer it, don't acknowledge it. That's how he gets inside." Suddenly the knocks ceased, replaced by a low guttural hum that reverberated through the walls. A voice, deep and distorted, whispered their names. Kambiz. Ethan. The candle's flame stretched unnaturally high before extinguishing itself, plunging them into darkness again. Panic set in. The woman began chanting under her breath, reciting what sounded like a prayer, though in a language neither Kambiz nor Ethan recognized. "We need to get out of here," Kambiz yelled, grabbing the woman by the arm. But the door wouldn't budge. No matter how hard Ethan pulled, it felt as though something on the other side was holding it shut. Then, the whispers stopped, replaced by a deafening silence. A shadow appeared at the end of the hallway leading to the bedrooms. It moved closer, unnaturally slow, its form shifting and undulating like smoke. The temperature in the room dropped sharply, their breath visible in the icy air. "Who are you? What do you want?" Ethan shouted, his voice breaking. The shadow stopped inches away, its form barely discernible but radiating malice. A deep voice echoed through the room. "You let her in. Now she's yours." The woman screamed, her body convulsing violently before collapsing to the floor. Her eyes rolled back as she muttered cryptic warnings. "The neighbor's daughter." She didn't jump, she was pushed. "He's coming for you next." Kambiz's blood ran cold. He remembered the recent tragedy in their building. A young girl found dead in the alley below. Her fall ruled a suicide. But the whispers among the neighbors hinted at something far darker, something unexplainable. As the entity began to take form, the walls of the apartment seemed to close in, the room warping and distorting. The oppressive darkness grew thicker, suffocating them as they fought to stay conscious. In a desperate move, Ethan grabbed the woman's limp body and shook her. "What does it want? How do we stop it?" Her eyes fluttered open, bloodshot and glassy. "You can't stop it. You can only survive, if you're willing to pay the price." The entity lunged forward, engulfing the room in total darkness. Screams filled the void, followed by an eerie silence. When the lights flickered back on, the apartment was empty, save for the faint sound of rain outside. The next morning, a maintenance worker found the apartment unlocked and abandoned. On the living room wall, written in black soot, were the words, "She wasn't the first, she won't be the last." To this day, no one knows what truly happened in apartment 304. Some say it's cursed, others believe it's a portal to something far worse. What do you think? Could this have been prevented, or was it inevitable? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Nightmare Moment channel. If you found this video inspiring, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below.